I walked into my own kitchen one night and found a stranger eating leftover pizza from my fridge. That was the moment I realized my relationship was no longer mine. My name is Alex, and for the first 2 years with my girlfriend, Sarah, things felt solid. She was fun, outgoing, and surrounded by a group of friends she called her ride or die crew. I liked that she wasn't lonely or dependent on me. At first, their presence didn't bother me. They went out for brunch, movie nights, random road trips the moment someone said they were bored. I figured it was harmless. But as time went on, I started noticing something. I wasn't just dating Sarah. I was dating her entire friend group. Started small. Plans we made were suddenly group-friendly plans. A cozy dinner for 2. Nope, the crew was already on the way. Hope that's cool. I would come home from work wanting a quiet evening, and I'd walk into loud music, people laughing, and cups left everywhere. Every time I'd try to talk about it, she'd wave me off. They're family. They were there before you, and they'll always be here, she'd say. I'd laugh it off, but in the back of my mind something felt off. I wanted her to have friends, not depend on them like oxygen. One day, I came home earlier than usual and found 2 of her friends lounging on the couch, flipping through my mail. I didn't know these people well enough for them to know my last name, let alone pretend they lived here. When I asked why they were here without Sarah, one of them smirked. She said we could come whenever. I have keys now. Didn't she tell you? I felt my stomach drop. Keys. Sarah came home hours later, all smiles, acting like nothing was wrong. I confronted her right there. You gave them keys to our home. Without even asking me. She crossed her arms and gave me that look that made me feel like I was the unreasonable one. They needed easy access. They're my support system. You should be grateful they care about me. Support system. I'm your partner, I said, trying to stay calm. And they're my forever, she snapped. If you can't respect that, then maybe you shouldn't be here. That was the first time I wondered if she actually valued our relationship or if I was just another piece of furniture. Weeks passed and things got worse. I'd find dirty dishes that weren't ours. Clothes left in the living room. I even caught one of the guys using my laptop like it was a public library computer. Sarah would defend them every single time. They're just comfortable here, she'd say. Why can't you be? It was like she didn't see the difference between security and invasion. Then came the breaking point. I was asleep one night when I woke to loud banging and voices. I rushed out of the bedroom to find 2 of her friends stumbling in, drunk out of their minds. They dropped a bottle on the floor and laughed like they owned the place. I told them to leave, and they argued with me like I was the intruder. Sarah came out, annoyed with me instead of them. Stop being dramatic. They just need a place to crash, she said. I stood there stunned. The people who barged into my home at 2 a.m. were her priority. Not me. Not my safety. Not our relationship. The next day, I grabbed my things and left to clear my head. My phone buzzed constantly. Sarah calling. Then her friends. Then her again. The messages went from sugary guilt trips to outright insults. You're abandoning her, one text read. She deserves someone who supports her life, said another. Then Sarah. If you loved me, you'd love them. That was when I realized something that hurt more than anything. She didn't want a partner. She wanted an audience. She wanted a fan club. And those friends weren't visitors anymore. They were the real relationship in her life. A week later, she came crying to my door. I miss you, she said, mascara streaked down her face. Baby, please. I never thought you'd actually leave. I let her talk. I let her promise change. She said the keys were gone. She said she understood. She said she would fix everything. But when she reached for my hand, I pulled away. You didn't lose me because of them, I said quietly. You lost me because you chose them over and over again, even when it hurt me. I just finally chose myself. She cried harder. She asked if there was someone else. She begged to come home. But I knew that if I went back, I would always be second place in my own life. So I closed the door, hoping she'd finally understand what it feels like when access is taken away. Sometimes heartbreak isn't loud. Sometimes it's the quiet moment you realize love shouldn't make you feel like a guest in your own home. And I decided I would never again give someone the key to my life if they planned to hand copies to everyone else.